Let's talk about how I get investors to open your email. Hi everyone, Jonathan Mills Patrick with you again. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a question I get asked quite a bit, and it's how to get an investor to open an email from you. Now, preferably you're out networking out in your community, you're at pitch competitions, you're asking for introductions to investors, you're meeting investors in person. But in today's world, email means a lot, and technology is used all the time to reach out and to connect with one another. So sometimes you just have to send an investor an email to introduce yourself. And I've got 4 different tips I'm going to give you on how to improve your chances of getting them to open up your email. And the first one is research the investors that you're going to be reaching out to in the first place. There's all kinds of ways you can do this. Call other startup founders and ask them if they have experience with a particular investor. If they do, ask lots of questions. What do they like? Where do they work? What type of startups do they like to get involved in? How are they as a person? All kinds of questions. Another thing you can use is social media. Go on their social media channels if you can find it. Go look them up on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all the different social media channels, and see how they act. What are the things they say? What do they talk about? What do they like? Is there a football team that you have in common? All these different things. You need to be researching the person that you're going to target in the first place. At the end of the day, when you're reaching out to investors, this is no different than marketing a product or service you're going to sell. You're just marketing your startup to these investors, so you really need to research them and understand their habits in the first place. Now, when you decide you're going to target an investor, and this next tip is specifically true if you're targeting an investing firm with lots of different people, the tip is to target people at the right level. Startup firms have chains of command, just like any other company out there. And if you're reaching out to too high of a position that you're not even connected to in the first place, it's not likely they're going to open an email from you. So investment firms have positions like senior directors or senior analysts and all these things. If you're reaching out to the managing director of an investment firm and they've never met you, it's not real likely that they're going to open an email from you. However, those type of firms use junior analysts and other junior professionals at that firm to vet out deals, and then those junior professionals are expected to sponsor deals by bringing them to the senior employees. So reach out to people at the right level. Don't start emailing the managing director or senior partner or something like that. Start at the junior level and work your way up. Now, what about the idea, if you've looked at any of my other content, if you've read my ebooks, you've done my courses, I always talk about using the phrase, who do you know? Another tip number 3, is to ask that question, who do you know? Ask your own network who they know that might work at that investment firm. It'd be great if they know the managing director or senior partner and can take you right to that person, preferably through an in-person coffee meeting. But if they want to introduce you through email, that's okay as well. But ask people, who do you know at this investment firm that you could introduce me to? If it's just a junior analyst, that's great. It's a wonderful place to start in the first place. Now, the 4th tip I want to give you is my bonus tip, and I use it with all the clients I work with when I'm designing pitch decks with them, when we're practicing how they're going to pitch the investors that they're meeting, or even putting together an investor marketing program. This is the bonus tip that I use with all of them, so make an important note of this one. Use video. Now, what I mean is not to send a video like this one of yourself to an investor just jabbering away. But oftentimes in the investment due diligence process, if you get a junior analyst or someone like that interested, they'll email you back and say, well, email me your pitch deck. The problem with just sending over a pitch deck is if you're doing it right, a pitch deck has a limited amount of text on it, so there isn't a lot being imparted in the way of your business model. You can write a pitch deck so that the imagery and the limited text tells the story, but oftentimes there's this missing component that you're missing if you're not doing this in person, which would be that voiceover. You as the founder going through slide by slide and adding a few more tidbits of information to each slide that aren't on there. So I recommend as a founder videoing yourself, maybe something like this with a screen share. Video yourself going through the pitch presentation and flipping through the slides, pointing out key things and adding a few others to each slide, and then send that with your pitch deck to the junior analyst, or if you're lucky, the managing director or something like that. So use video in what you do. So 4 different tips, just back in summary to you. Research your target market of who you're going to go after. When you do go after folks, particularly at a firm, make sure it's someone at the right level, preferably starting at the lower end. Ask questions like, who do you know, and see if your network can introduce you to people at those firms, and then use video to make a good impact when you're sharing a pitch deck with investors. Hope that helps you. Have a great day.